Yeah. Hi kids, welcome to part 3. It's working, but it's not working great, obviously. But that's okay because we haven't gotten very far. Let me show you where we've gotten. Let me disconnect everything. It's a good sign. There's signs of life here, and we've got a ways to go. I was getting better volume than that a few minutes ago before I started the video. I don't know. I lost a little bit there for some reason. Of course, you know, I probably shouldn't have this thing at full power yet because I don't have a lot of the capacitors replaced. But I'll show you what I do have. Let me get in here and I'll show you. I might go handheld a little bit on this, but I'll try to keep it to a minimum. Prop this thing up as best I can. Bring it over here into the light. Let me just grab this real quick and I'll try not to make things too shaky. When I put the antenna coil back on, I decided to go ahead and replace this. This was a 0.05. This resistor, I think it's a 3 meg, that tested fine, so we kept it, didn't bother to replace it. I've been replacing wire along the way because most of it is this real thin black, I think it's single strand. Yeah, I hate single strand wire. So I've been replacing that as necessary. The ones off the tuning capacitor are these new white ones. So that's the only wax capacitor I've replaced so far. Down at the other end, we have what looks like a mess because it kind of is, but that's only temporary. This is a 22 microfarad that is electrolytic that's taking place of the original 20. These are two of the same, two 22s that are in parallel to make a 44. And this is a 1000 ohm or 1K 5 watt resistor that originally ran, you see over here, this is where the original electrolytics were. It originally ran across both of the positive sides. So that's what it's doing. It's connected to one positive, the positive of the 22 over here, and the positive of the 44 over here. I had to tack a lead onto it because it was too short to do that with this setup. But this is only temporary. Did replace this 15 ohm resistor. I found out I did have some. I wasn't sure I did. So what I did today is I went to the electronics store and let's just show you here. Got some rubber grommets for when we get around to doing that kind of stuff. Okay, got some rubber grommets for that and for the cabinet. I think these would be about the right size. We'll double check that. Got a couple of different sizes, just in case. So we have a couple of new 1K 5 watt resistors. These nice ceramic, or cement, whatever they are. So I'm going to put one of those in there instead of this because it will be long enough to fit all the way across the terminal strip. And then I got a couple of, this should be, this is a 47. So we're going to get rid of these two 22s that are making a 44. I'm going to put this one 47 in there, take up a little less space. And then we will put a, let me see what else I got. I'm going to put one of these smaller 22s over here. So this big long one, I'll just put one of these smaller ones on the other side and not take up quite so much space. So we're just going to clean that all up. So I got that. I got some new capacitors to replace some of the rest of these wax jobs. Although I do have, I've got some already set aside for that, including a safety capacitor. But just wanted to get some extras. I was kind of running low on some things. Let me show you the original electrolytic if I can. You can see that thing right there. See how rusty this thing leaked. Sorry, get my fingers out of there. This thing leaked. And you can see, you know, just how corroded everything is. You know, where this is supposed to be making a nice ground, it's just completely rusty. And these are just a horror show. So everything's been disconnected. I'm sure that's why this thing didn't work at all, even though these were newer electrolytics than the originals. Yeah, they're crap. So they got those out of there. You can tell by the rust stains, you know, under there and above that thing leaked. So anyway, so now we only have 4 wax capacitors. Once we redo this section, it was just for testing purposes. I just hacked it together just to see. I'm going to clean it up, make it look pretty. Get these wax capacitors replaced and test the rest of the resistors. Like I said, that one is fine. I replaced the 15 ohm. It was way out of tolerance. Then I've just got that one, and then there's one back in here. This is a 15 meg, which you don't see every day. And they didn't have any of those at the electronics store, so I couldn't get a reading on it with it in the circuit. I'll have to unsolder one side and see if we can get a reading on it out of circuit. That's it back there. Looks, that one right there, that brown, green, blue resistor back there is a 15 meg. And then it's just these 3 over here. They're all in a group, and those 4 capacitors. And then we'll see what it does. Everything's going good up top here. We have pretty good tubes. I haven't formally tested them. I've just been swapping some in and out, trying to get it to work as well as I can, and it's working pretty good. One of the problems is there's still quite a bit of corrosion, despite my best efforts on this tuning capacitor, and it's pretty noisy still. Crackle, crackle, and everything at one end. It's not so bad at the other end, but at one end it's, you know, so I'm pulling in stations, so the fins don't seem to be touching. It just seems to be when you get, you know, down here, you know, there's still corrosion down in there and stuff. So, you know, I'll keep working on it. But anyway, you know, we're underway. We got signs of life, so I will just stop this segment here and just move on to the next bit. We'll I'm going to clean up that electrolytic section that I talked about. We're going to make that look a lot better and just make it neater, and then we'll see if anything improves. I doubt it. I think it'll come out exactly the same performance-wise, but it'll just be, there'll be a lot less stuff in the way here, and should just be a lot nicer. So I'll come and go with that, you know, as I get things removed and installed. So just hang on. Okay, so kind of in the middle of things, I have the new 47 in here. I have the 1K ohm 5-watt resistor. I reconnected the 15 ohm resistor. This is the positive of this one, which, you know, used to be over here on this thing. This is the negative in the center lug that grounds down to this nut and stud down here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this big 22 that I have there, and I'm going to install one of these smaller ones, because that'll take up a lot less space, and get rid of this because it's being replaced by this. And so I just have to connect the positive of the 22, and I need to connect the 1K ohm resistor and this yellow wire, which is already connected there. Okay, and then I'll have to connect the negative of the 22 to the same place as this one, negative, and get that soldered up, and then that'll be done, and we can see how the radio works, make sure we didn't screw anything up. So hang on. Well, I think that looks a little better. I think it looks a lot better. Much neater. Permanent fix. Got your 22 positive, 47 positive. Both the negatives go into the center, to that lug there. Got the new resistor here, got the new resistor here. Everything else is just, you know, 2 or 3 wires. So let's go ahead and put it back together and make sure it's still working.
to continue our story. At Britt Reed's orders, Cato, the faithful valet, knocked the young publisher unconscious. Then he called the police. They hurried to the modern apartment, accompanied by Lowry of the Daily Sentinel.
This trouble in the boss's own apartment. The thing might be big time. That is my Lowry.
Okay, well, we're making progress. This is a different speaker. That's why it sounds better. It's got a couple of little holes right around the edge. Not enough light in here. Sorry, it's getting late. You can see the light shining through there. Just a little tiny. I'll have to patch those. Be all right. This came out of the parts pile. This one works pretty well. It's virtually identical to the one that came out of the radio. 5-inch speaker, probably exactly the same output transformer. So we'll go with this one. That one, I could not get any good volume out of that one. I think the output transformer I think it works, but it's weak. So I'm going to cover this one up before anything else happens to it. So let me sit down here and then we'll show you what I did, and then we'll call this part 3. Flip this over. The tuning capacitor is still really noisy. There's something going on there. It's grounding out. I can only get a couple of stations at the upper end, 1320, 1450, stuff like that. I briefly got one at the other end, probably somewhere around 700, briefly, but we're gonna have to work on this. I have to try and do some kind of alignment on it, and I got to figure out what is still making contact in there that's causing so much trouble. But let me flip it over and I'll show you where we're at. Grab this for just a second. We have, of course, showed you all of this. That came out very nice. And I replaced this. This was a 0.02. This is also a 0.02. Replaced, move this big guy a little bit. Replaced all 3 of these resistors. They were all out of tolerance, so I replaced them all. Replaced the 15 meg. I sort of had to make my own. You can kind of see that there's 3 of them in series. I have an 8.6, I have a 8.2, I have a 5.6, and I have a 1 meg, which just about adds up to 15. So got it kind of perched up there where it's not going to make any contact anywhere. It should be fine. This is a 0.002. These are 0.02s. This is a 0.002. So I got that in there. And that's about it, except I'm going to put a new power cord on it. And when I do that, I will put a safety capacitor in here instead of a regular capacitor. I did put some new wires on here for the speaker, just because I got tired of trying to clip underneath here. And I'm going to have to do that anyway. So when the time comes, I will just... I don't think I have the other end of this. I might have the other end of this, in which case I'll wire them to that, shorten them up quite a bit, and wire them to that, and then we can just plug and unplug the speaker if we ever have to work on it again, which would be really nice. I think I do have the other end of that. That's from a project that I started that I'm not going to finish because I found something I'd rather do. So it's that old Admiral record player that I started. I'll probably take those videos down because I'm not going to finish that one. I found a record player, radio record player that I'd much rather do. Finally got all the parts I needed for it, except the speaker, so I'll have to figure that out. No, that's right. I bought a replacement speaker. It's not the exact speaker for it, but I did get a speaker for it. So I have everything I need to do that one. So we're going to start working on that one real soon. It's a really nice looking unit, and I'm looking forward to getting it working. So anyway, that's where we're at with this. I will call this part 3 and get this one up on the YouTube for your viewing pleasure. And next, I will put that new power cord in there with a new safety cap, and then we're going to have to figure out, because I think we solved our speaker problem. I'll just have to patch up those tiny holes, and then we'll have to figure out what is going on with this thing, because it was a nightmare to begin with, and it's still, still kind of a bad dream. So anyway, this is part 3. Stay tuned for part 4. Be coming right up. I'll try to wrap this up. Maybe go to part 5. I'm not sure. We'll just have to see, how much work it's going to take to get there. But anyway, that's part 3. Hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching.